Mics are unmuted. 30-second warning.
Oh, perfect.
But okay, it is 4:30. Actually, hold off a sec. 4:29 on the screen. Oh, I look like I'm angry.
Oh, she doesn't listen.
Okay, it is 4:30. I'll call the meeting to order. Acknowledge the District of Tofino operates within the territory of the Tla-o-qui-aht First Nation, Tla-o-qui-aht. Notice to attendees that the meeting is being video recorded and will be published on the District of Tofino channel. Notice to virtual attendees to sign for public comment. Using the Q&A function of Zoom. To register participants are required to enter their full name, residential address, and the agenda item you speak to. Through unanimous consent, if there are no objections, I'll move that pursuant to section 15 of the District Meeting Procedure Bylaw number 1229/2016 ended May 13, 2025. Regular meeting be held electronically via Zoom and live broadcasted on the District channel. And that the facility provided for the public to watch and hear the meeting be located at the Tla-o-qui-aht Sound Theatre, 380 Kent Street, C. Any objection is carried. Also, through unanimous consent, if there are no objections, I'll move that the May 13, 2025 regular council agenda be adopted. Objections, that was carried. Moving on to the consent agenda. Again, through unanimous consent, if there are no objections, I'll move that item 4.1 to 4.3 of the consent agenda on the regular council meeting held May 13, 2025 be approved and received. Being no objection. Mayor's report. Well, we have a special day to commemorate. Or what do we got? Commemorate? That's not right, is it? Commemorate? Celebrate. Commemorate's like it's over, right? No, this is celebrate. Celebrate Chris Lyons. So come on up. Where's Chris? Come on up, Chris. Come on, you gotta come. What do you gotta come? Where do you gotta come? Come on back here. Or, get to hold that while I say lots of nice things. So we're gonna take a moment to here. Let's get him in here. We'll get the picture in a sec. We should get all of council as well. We always do some things. We'll get council up here in a sec. So hold off on the picture. But I'd like to take a moment to recognize an outstanding member of our community, someone whose significant contributions have often occurred quietly behind the scenes and under the ground. This evening, council is proud to shine a light on an individual whose dedication and hard work have kept the District of Tofino running smoothly for the past 20 years. On behalf of council, I'm pleased to recognize Chris Lyons for 20 years of outstanding service with the District of Tofino. Chris joined the district's Infrastructure and Public Works Department in 2004. He's been an essential part of the team ever since. Over the years, he has contributed skills and expertise across a wide range of roles. For the past decade, he has been an integral member of the District's utilities team. Today serves as utility operator lead. And during his time with the district, Chris has gained a remarkable insight into Tofino's water system, both in the peninsula and Mears Island. He is now advancing his experience in the operations of the district's wastewater treatment plant. His wealth of knowledge has been critical in maintaining the health and reliability of this essential service, one that every member of our community depends on each and every day. And beyond the technical expertise, Chris has also been a dependable presence on the district's on-call response team, always ready to step in whenever he is needed, no matter the time of day or the conditions. His reliability, teamwork, and commitment have earned him the deep respect of his colleagues and the gratitude of our entire community. Chris, your steady leadership, hard work, and expertise have made a lasting impact on the District of Tofino. On behalf of council staff and the residents of Tofino, thank you for everything you have contributed over the past 20 years. And it is my honor to present to you this 20 years of service award.
Thank you very much.
And get all the council stand behind him, Gary.
Very well, you.
Started when he was 14.
All right, yeah, thank you very much.
Now can I tell Trent stories?
Yeah, well, thank you. You guys later. Take care.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, got it.
Well, that's great. Wonderful. We got a great team. Okay, moving on for the mayor's report. First thing, I want to congratulate Gord Johns on his 4th term being elected as our region's member of parliament. I look forward to working with Gord on ours and the region's priorities. And moving on, the Rip Curl Nationals happened. And unfortunately, I was away, but wow, it was sounded like a great time. And a big congratulations to all the folks. I see we have Taya Osha Green had some fantastic results. Shiloh Page, Shannon Brown, great to see Shannon up there, pulling out some big numbers. And of course, Kath Bruweiler, Reed Platinius, Shay and Tanner. So super, wish I was there. I think we had some representation.
Yeah, big shout out to Caleb at Weller Temple, who, finally took his national championship. It's been a long time coming and well deserved.
That's right. Well, Caleb, he was right on top of my list.
Yeah.
I missed him. Okay, that's it from that. That's all I have for the report. Do we have public comment on agenda items?
Thank you, Mayor Law. I'll now do an open call for comments. For those in the gallery who wish to speak, please raise your hand. If there's anyone attending online via Zoom who would like to make a comment, do so using the Q&A function. Before making a comment, you will need to state your name, your address, and the agenda item you're speaking to. I will now do a call. Calling once, calling twice, calling 3 times. No current comments at this time, Mayor Law.
Super, moving past delegations on to correspondence. 9.1 UBCM deadline to submit resolutions is June 15th. Any comments on that? We already have resolution through ABICC to UBCM. See comments. Moving on. 9.2 Minister of Housing and Municipal Affairs Ravi Callan and regarding short-term rental accommodations act. Any comments from councillors on that? And moving on, we have 9.3 Chief Elmer Frank of the local First Nation regarding a short-term rental industry protocol. I do have a couple comments on that actually. Thank Chief Frank for his letter, and just have some prepared talking points. The District of Tofino has committed to actively encouraging all businesses within the Ahulfi of the Tla-o-qui-aht way to voluntarily contribute to the Tribal Park Ally Fund. This commitment by the District of Tofino was established in a memorandum of understanding by the District of Tofino, Tourism Tofino, between the Chamber of Commerce and Tla-o-qui-aht First Nation in 2022 and renewed in 2025. Now, the letter from Chief Frank does request the District of Tofino to require businesses to collect a fee from their customers. Now, as a municipality, we are creatures of the province and we're beholden to the community charter, and so we have restrictions on collect fees, and we unfortunately don't have the ability to require businesses or a specific business segment to collect fees for this particular purpose. However, there's an active working group established in the District of Tofino, Tourism Tofino, Tofino Chamber of Commerce, and Political First Nation that the letter may be referred to discuss how we can all reach our commitments laid out in the memorandum of understanding. District of Tofino remains committed to advancing the goals and objectives outlined in the MOU. So, any comments from council? I do have a draft motion. Councillor Steer.
I was just thinking maybe after the draft motion, but when I was reading it over, and thank you for that clarification, and it's important. And one thing that did come to mind, and it was the one sentence in there that revenues from the short-term rentals in our communities should stay within the community. And I know that we've been actively working with the province and BC Assessment, many on council here over the years. And I don't know, maybe, and I look to council maybe as an opportunity at UBCM once again to renew that conversation about the split classifications. To be able to have the conversation that, as we clearly pointed out, they operate as businesses. And we should be able to have that conversation to be able to derive the important contributions financially to ensure that the infrastructure to support those businesses is in place. So I don't know, I look to council, maybe this isn't the right time for that, but it's just to put a thought in our heads once again, if that might be an appropriate conversation at UBCM once again.
Yeah, maybe what we'll do is we can refer that to discussions when we talk about UBCM. Going there, and, ongoing effort on many communities to find a way to get better fare, more fair result. Commercial use of residential. Good point. But good. Back to this letter. So we can refer this. We can refer Chief Frank's request to the MOU working group, which involves Tla-o-qui-aht First Nation, Tofino Chamber of Commerce, and District of Tofino, and there are ongoing discussions in the province on finding new ways of ensuring equity, especially with revenues, non-property tax revenue. So I'm looking forward to seeing some advancement there. Certainly behind as a district. So, any further comments from council? No, nothing. Well, I do have a draft motion, and the correspondence. So I move there that the correspondence item titled Chief Elmer Frank, Local First Nation, regarding short-term rental industry protocol, attached to the May 13th regular council meeting agenda, be referred to the MOU working group involving Tla-o-qui-aht First Nation, Tofino Chamber of Commerce, Tourism Tofino, and the District Tofino. Seconded by Councillor Steer. Any further comments on this one? Seeing none. All in favor? None opposed, motion is carried. Presentations report. We have invited presentation from Samantha Hackett, Executive Director of the Tofino Chamber of Commerce, and regarding the service agreement annual reporting requirements.
Hello, Mayor and Council and staff. I'm Samantha Hackett, Executive Director of the Tofino Chamber of Commerce, and I appreciate this opportunity to provide our 2024 annual report under the 2024-2025 service agreement with the District of Tofino, to reflect on what has been a year of growth and collaboration for the Tofino Chamber of Commerce. We are committed to advocating for our business community, fostering meaningful partnerships, and creating opportunities for economic and community development. A quick overview of our membership, which saw a significant increase, demonstrating the value of the businesses see in their chamber membership. We had 54 new members in 2024. This is outlining all of the sectors that the total membership is in, and our retention rate was 94%, which is versus the Canadian average of 92.1%. Significant increase for 2024. For the service agreement between the Tofino Chamber of Commerce and the District of Tofino, it outlines our responsibilities to support and promote the economic well-being of the Tofino business community. And this agreement ensures the effective use of public funds and strengthens collaboration between our organizations. These are the 5 key elements: business support, business promotion and retention, community economic profile, business roundtables, and communication with the district. To highlight the 2024 business support, we responded to numerous business inquiries and provided essential resources to support local entrepreneurs. One of our primary roles is advocacy, and we continue to be a strong voice for businesses, ensuring priorities are heard at all levels of government, municipal, provincial, and federal. Whether it was addressing the impacts of the increased utility rates, engaging in discussions on the business licensing fees, or supporting policies that enhance sustainable growth. We have worked to bring balance and long-term solutions to the table. And also, we've been deepening our collaboration with partners like the Vancouver Island Economic Alliance, industry groups, and regionally our fellow chambers and DMOs to ensure businesses have the support they need to thrive. Under business promotion and retention, we delivered workshops and networking events supporting both members and non-member businesses. Throughout the year, we focused on strengthening connections within our business community, providing platforms for learning, networking, professional growth, from business support sessions, industry-specific gatherings to joint initiatives that bring different sectors together. We've aimed to create opportunities for meaningful engagement. Some highlight events in 2024 include our Chamber Members Luncheon, the Women in Business Summit Series, our Business Supports Roadshow, and they all provided spaces for businesses to collaborate, learn, and share resources. We added a very fun joint chamber golf scramble last year, and we expanded and are continuing to work with our partners on workforce development initiatives. This includes things like growing our West Coast Ambassador Program and a new initiative. We're working with the high school to explore career opportunities with the students in local tourism and business sectors through what we're calling a Tourism Discovery Day. We started work on our Business Retention and Expansion Program, which just finished in early 2025, and we look forward to working with you on all of the opportunities and action items from that report. A major milestone for us as the Chamber of Commerce was the launch of the Arts and Commerce Hub. Although it was in 2025, I just had to take the opportunity to highlight this. It's a dedicated workspace housed in the Tofino Legion downstairs. And once renovated, the hub will serve as a dynamic meeting place for businesses, entrepreneurs, and community organizations, providing a space for workshops, networking events, and collaboration initiatives. It also allows businesses access to shared resources, fostering greater connectivity across industries. Additionally, we've continued to grow the Chamber exclusive benefits, ensuring businesses have access to discounts, savings on essential services. This helps operational costs and professional development opportunities. One specifically is our Chamber Group Health Benefits Plan, which remains a valuable resource for businesses looking to support their teams with comprehensive health coverage at very competitive rates. For the Community Economic Profile, this is a 27-page document. It provides critical data for businesses and potential investors and is maintained on our website. So it's just tofinochamber.org/Tofino Community Profile. In 2024, we conducted sector-specific roundtables, capturing valuable insights and worked to bring leaders together within sectors to strengthen our industries. The Chamber remains at the district's disposal regarding how to best direct targeted consultation through this contract as well. We continued monthly meetings for ongoing coordination with your CAO to address strategic priorities and operational alignment. I want to thank Nyla for your proactive collaboration and work to support the business community. Additionally, as needed, I collaborated with many of the departments within the District of Tofino on critical topics, including emergency preparedness, bylaw enforcement, general communications, water conservation stages, and other emerging issues. And I wanted to take this opportunity as well, all of you here and not here, all the district staff, thank you for working with the Chamber on all of that and many more things that we did in 2024. It was also, last year was the first year of this 2-year, the same fee-for-service agreement that the Chamber has had with the district for many years. This is our current boards listed here, and we're all keen to work together to bring and be able to spend some time updating and evolving the agreement for 2026 and beyond for the future community needs. We have two board members here. Thank you both for joining. This is a past picture. We need a new picture of our current board. With the future in mind, I just wanted to give you all a quick overview of our new strategic plan, which over the next 5 years will guide our efforts to strengthen local businesses, expand our reach, and enhance our impact through clarity, collaboration, growth, and impact. These are our 4 strategic focus areas that I will go over in a moment. A strong business community doesn't simply happen. It's built through collaboration, a shared purpose, and a commitment to growth. Guided by our mission, vision, and guiding principles, we are dedicated to shaping an environment where every member can flourish while also contributing to the bigger picture, a sustainable business ecosystem in Tofino. The Tofino Chamber of Commerce is dedicated to shaping a thriving, inclusive business community where we grow together sustainably and successfully. These ethics and foundational principles guide the Chamber's conduct and decision-making. They are respect, collaboration, inclusivity, and value. In support of our vision to deliver meaningful benefits, resources, and opportunities that assist members, the Chamber is committed to strengthening the future of the Tofino business community by advancing key goals in these strategic focus areas: clarity, collaboration, growth, and impact. Our strategic plan, including all of this and much more detail, can be found on our website in the About Us section. More than a roadmap, the strategic plan is a commitment to building a stronger, more resilient business community. By focusing on clear communication, deeper collaboration, sustainable growth, and these high-impact initiatives will ensure that the Tofino businesses have the support, connections, and advocacy they need to thrive in the years ahead. One of our specific goals under the strategic focus areas of collaboration is the relaunch of our Business Excellence Awards. This is a platform to recognize and celebrate outstanding local businesses, boost morale, motivation, and encouragement. I want to also thank all of you for your support of the event and a thriving, connected future for Tofino. And thank you so much for those that enjoyed with us and joined us as we celebrated Tofino's vibrant business community at the actual gala. We honored exceptional businesses that lead with innovation, service excellence, and a positive impact on our community. And together we recognize the people and organizations shaping the future of our local economy. For those of you that didn't get to enjoy next year, you'll enjoy with us.
It's a great painting.
Okay, not great. I don't know if you can see their local artist, Philia, and that was the inspiration for all of the decor and everything around the boards. And lots of great photos. There's more photos on our gallery on our website. As we step into 2025, our focus remains on strengthening our advocacy work, expanding business support services, and fostering an economy that benefits businesses of all sizes. We will continue to work alongside our members to address key issues, build an even stronger relationship with the district and other regional partners. Thank you for your ongoing support. We look forward to presenting the Business Retention and Expansion Report and continuing our collaboration to strengthen Tofino's business community. We welcome the council and staff's input into how we can further collaborate, and I'm available now for any questions or feedback you may have. Thank you.
Super. Thank you. Questions, comments from council?
Go ahead.
Councilor Anderson.
Well, this might be a question for council as much as the chamber, but after this service agreement is over this year, what do you envision our whatever relationship between the district and chamber in terms of that fee for service? Yeah.
We're gonna push that to a working council.
Okay, discussing them times.
Yes.
This is just the presentation
And I look forward to that
Yeah.
conversation
Sorry.
with staff and yourself.
Jumping in. No, you're jumping ahead. You're jumping
Thanks
ahead.
for jumping.
Great question.
It's great to see all the wonderful work the chamber does. And we have such fantastic businesses. I mean, the number of businesses that we have that are successful. Almost all of them are successful for our small little town is phenomenal. We have just an amazing business community.
Counselor.
I just had a question because unfortunately I had to go away for work and I couldn't attend the gala. Where can I find all the wonderful businesses who won the awards?
Many different places, depending on your platform. Our website, it has the most detailed information. So if you just go under our chamber programs, Business Excellence Awards has all the winners, all of there's links. You can go back and look at all the businesses that were nominated. There's a photo gallery. So there's many different places to find them. Also our social media, Instagram, Facebook has all the posts as well.
I might not have been on Instagram enough, I guess.
No, that's okay. They're in like the thing you have to flip through to.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Super. Councillor Steer.
Yeah, thank you, Samantha. Appreciate once again, and I think it's important for us to see where the focus is and through your strategic plan, and it's that clarity for us, see where the energy is going to be put forward. I do have to say that gala was incredible. The food was spectacular, and it was really wonderful. Some of the award winners there, I was really impressed by the age of many. So just this entrepreneurial spirit that we have in this community, and it shone through in those awards for sure. And I just had one little thing in the agreement, our fee for service agreement, and it's going to make a few members here laugh, but CDAC, your CDAC commitment, which no longer I believe exists, but maybe it does. I don't know, but I haven't.
Meetings, but nobody's there.
So I was just curious, maybe that might be changed in the next service fee for service agreement, but I did have a little chuckle there. So thank you.
I don't think it's been adjusted, many iterations.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks again.
We have an invited presentation from Ian Scott, who's our interim executive director. THC annual general meeting auditor presentation.
Mr. Scott, are you there?
Hello.
Hello.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you very much for having me again. I would like to correct you slightly, Mayor Law. I'm the former interim executive director of the Tofino Housing Corporation.
I was like, I don't think that's right.
Due to conflicts in his schedule, Lee King, who's now been hired by the Tofino Housing Corporation as the executive director, is not able to be here tonight. Myself, in my role as senior development manager at City Spaces and with the history with the corporation, are providing some support to Lee and to the THC board through the handover. And we're also doing some development consulting work with some of my colleagues on some of the work for the Tofino Housing Corporation going forward. So given that I was around at the end of 2024, I'm going to just give a very brief presentation tonight as part of this annual general meeting for the Tofino Housing Corporation. I think all of council, you were here last year, but as a reminder, the District of Tofino is the only shareholder of the Tofino Housing Corporation, which is a business corporation incorporated under the Business Corporations Act and approved by the municipal inspector to be a municipal corporation. And so we do the AGM business in front of you as the representatives of the community and the shareholder. And so really on your agenda, and the draft resolution is doing three pieces of business. One, accepting the financial statements, which have been prepared by our auditors, MNP, and that is on your agenda package tonight. It's been reviewed by and approved by the THC board. The second piece of business is reappointing or appointing the board. And on your list this evening are all of the 7 current board members standing for reappointment. And then the third piece of business is to appoint the auditor for next year. Again, MNP, the district and THC a number of years ago went together to get I think it was a 5-year proposal for auditing services from MNP. And so, we're intending with your acquiescence to continue with that for next year. So I just want to share my screen quickly here and highlight a couple things very briefly. Hope you can all see the screen. Please let me know if you can't. So we're looking at the 2024 financial statements and audit. In 2024, as you all know, the Headwaters apartments were finalized with the opening of Headwaters South. Kelly Lynn is seen here with the elder at a ceremony opening, recognizing the opening of the building. Another key accomplishment in 2024 was developing the updated strategic plan for the Tofino Housing Corporation. You'll see in our financial statements, some work was done on Peterson Drive 346 and 356. Those are the 2 lots that we are designing for essential worker rental housing. And those lots were cleared and a bunch of servicing installed. And then the other thing that happened near the end of 2024 is Kelly Lynn moved on to other things, and then I stepped in on an interim basis at the end of 2024. We launched the process of selecting the future sites for Tofino's Housing Corporation's next developments, and we're able, through work with the combination of the district and the Vancouver Island Regional Library Association, start discussions around what a development on 385 and 391 Main Street would look like. We did some work with BC Builds, trying to assess the feasibility, and that work continues into this year. If you look at the financial statements, from an operations point of view, we had just under 700,000 in revenue and 175,000 in expenses, for a significant net. The revenue relates to the MRDT OAP portion that is transferred by agreement from the district to THC. There's also revenue from BC Housing for the Mount Colnet site, a combination of them paying the mortgage every month, as well as transfer of money related to some capital improvements that they funded through their capital renewal fund. And then, of course, we have the revenue from the tenants who live at Mount Colnet. Mount Colnet is the only building that THC operates. The other buildings, Creekside and the 2 Headwaters apartments, are the building and operations are the buildings are owned by Catalyst and operated by them. So none of those revenues or operation numbers show up in THC's books. In terms of cash flows, like I said, we spent a bunch of money on land clearing and service installation on Peterson Drive. And the board also chose to establish a Mount Colnet capital reserve. The process of taking on the Mount Colnet property did cost THC some money, although BC Housing was a strong partner and supported both some of these capital upgrades, as well as covering some of the expenditures that were required to go through the legal process of transferring it from the Seniors Housing Society to THC. And through some of the money that was raised by selling one of the lots on Peterson Drive, we've been able to establish the capital reserve. And the goal is to be able to bump up that capital reserve a little bit every year through the net surplus of operations, but it's pretty tight as an operating item. So what that means on cash flows is at the end of the year, we have 120,000, ish in cash resources, an increase from 685 last year. On the asset side, the assets are valued at 5.5 million, and that's the 5 lots that we own, 4 of them on Peterson Drive and Creekside, along, I guess, with the 6th lot, the Mount Colnet site, and the Mount Colnet building. As we look into 2025, the priorities, and we talked a little bit about this in November, but as a refresher, the priorities are to begin construction of the Peterson Drive essential worker fourplexes. assess the feasibility of the Main Street Library and Housing Project. And with agreement by the district, THC, and the library, then launch into a detailed design and rezoning process. So that'll be something that council, you'll have an opportunity to weigh into. We're looking to report to council in July on the affordable housing site selection work that is being partially funded by the Housing Accelerator Fund. Detailed design on one site with a view to a 2026 rezoning. So really what THC is currently focused on is looking at our next housing projects being potentially above the library, and second, one of the sites that we're looking at in the site selection work. We had a really good meeting last week and some clear direction from the internal staff team, and we'll report back to council in July on that. And then, the last priority obviously is some transition to Lee King being the new executive director and assuming leadership with this organization. And with that, I'm going to stop and take any questions.
Thank you very much, Mr. Scott. Open it up to council for questions.
Great work, by the way. Great work stepping in and do a great job. So it's been great having you.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure. It's a great place to get to visit every once in a while from my humble home in Victoria. Every time I come to Tofino, it seems to be it's just like going to the ends of the earth, but it's the wonderful end of the earth. It's just amazing. I so enjoy it, and it's been a pleasure working and look forward to continue to work with you in Tofino.
And I have actual special thanks for all your work with Mount Coleman.
That was a real pick up the ball and take it over the finish line in a sprint. So thank you. Especially.
You're welcome. And yeah, and I think the operations are stabilizing nicely there. And it's really great to get BC Housing to contribute, some capital upgrades and there's more work to be done for the future of that site, but it definitely feels like we were able to step in at the right time and continue the legacy started by that wonderful group that put so many volunteer hours and efforts into the property for so many years.
Okay, if any further comments? Seeing none, Greg, thanks for the presentation.
Thank you.
We have several recommendations, actually one rather long recommendation. 10.3, we have a volunteer to here. Go ahead.
I move that the financial statements of the company for the financial year ended December 31st, 2024 be accepted, and that the following persons having consented in writing to act as directors for the company be elected directors of the company to hold office until the next annual general meeting of the company or until sooner ceasing to hold office. Al Anderson, Dan Law, Cindy Levine, Nyla Atiana, Duncan McMaster, Melody McClory, and Allison Muir, and that MNP be appointed as the auditor of the company, and the remuneration payable to the auditor is $13,700, and the directors of the company be authorized to give the auditor notice of the practice by the Business Corporations Act. Please.
Second by Councilor Anderson. Any further comments? All in favor? None opposed, motion is carried. Excellent.
Then we've got some minutes of committee of the whole, meeting held April 28th. I don't think we need any comments about this. Just a note that the third recommendation, there is a date corrected by staff. And I think that was actually just a typo in the
Agenda.
Anybody like to volunteer to read it? Go ahead.
I move that the minutes of the committee of the whole meeting held April 28th, 2025 be received.
Second.
All in favor?
None opposed, motion carried.
I move that funding request from the Tla-o-qui-aht Heritage Society of $50,000 per year for 3 years be referred to staff to consider through the 2025-2027 resort development strategy process.
Once again, any comments? All in favor? None opposed, motion carried.
And I move that staff be authorized to execute the municipal type service agreement between the District of Tofino and the Tla-o-qui-aht First Nation attached as Appendix 1 to the staff report titled Tla-o-qui-aht First Nation Municipal Type Service Agreement dated April 28th, 2025.
Councilor Thomas, seconds. Any further comments? All in favor? None opposed, motion carried. Excellent. We have minutes of the Public Art Advisory Committee meeting held March 18th.
And these ones,
Excellent.
since I chaired that. So I'll move that the minutes of the Public Art Advisory Committee meeting held March 18th, 2025 be received.
Councilor Thomas, any comments? All in favor? Opposed, motion carried.
And I'll move that the Public Art Advisory Committee recommend to council that staff be authorized to prepare a draft call to artists, competition brief, communications plan, and contract for the Sports Courts Public Art Project located at the basketball and pickleball tennis courts on Yale Street, based on feedback received from the Public Arts Advisory Committee for the meeting held March 18th, 2020.
Second by Councilor Thomas. Any further comments? All in favor? Excellent. Look forward to that. All right, that brings us on to 10.6 minutes of the Audit Committee. Held May 9th, 2025. Who was on the Audit Committee? So Thomas, would you like to read this?
I move that the minute of the audit committee held May 9th, 2025 be received.
Here, seconds. All in favor? Opposed, motion carried.
Move that the audit committee recommend to council the acceptance of the consolidated financial statements for the District of Tofino for the year ending December 31st, 2024.
Here, second by Mr. Steer. Comments? All in favor? Motion carried. All right, zooming along, 10.7, we have green burial information update. We have a report from Mr. Rogers.
Good afternoon. Today we present an update on the Green Burial at CV Cemetery based on the recommendation we received in October of 24. So today we'll go over the purpose, legislation, 2 cemeteries that we own, some conversation around our bylaw, get into green burials, and then next steps. At the end of the presentation, we'll be looking for some council direction on how to proceed from here. So again, just to cast our minds back to last fall, the council asked us to look into green burials at CV Cemetery and then come back to council with some progress, research, and next steps. In terms of the legislation, we've been reading our bylaw. We meet some of the legislation, we don't meet it all. And probably the easiest way for me to describe this is that we have a bylaw. There's quite a few things that we're not doing. So we have the words in the paper, but there's just stuff that we have to be doing. We don't have those processes in place. So this was the beginning of my research into green burials, is just determining what we have, and then from there decide what we want to do in terms of green burials. Our 2 Tofino cemeteries, so I don't know if everybody's familiar, but we have 2. The first is Morpheus, which is an island. Pre-1900, it was a pre-colonial burial site, and then in the first half of the 20th century, it was the site for people living in Tofino. It's now under our guardianship as the community of Tofino, but we don't intern people there anymore, and there were 53 plots. I'm going to say this information is mostly correct. It's hard to find that stuff, and I didn't go over to the island to count plots or sites. So the other cemetery we have is Seaview. It's located outside of town, just before Mallard Lake, right across the entrance from the stump dump. If you haven't visited, it was founded shortly after Morpheus was closed It has, it's a fairly large lot. It's 8.5 acres. We're only using a small portion of it, which is illustrated in this photo. We've actually spent some time because of this process GISing the plots and what's happened there and trying to get ourselves organized a little bit better around the site. We have very good records, paper records of this, but we basically moved that over into the GIS system so we could track it better into the future. There is some space left there. I believe it's the ones in the red that are vacant, and we have some that are reserved. To the north there, you can see we have a fairly large, maybe northwest, a large section that could be used for future expansion of the site. On average, we are filling the sites up, that's wrong words, but four plots a year are sold to the community for the purpose of ensuring human bodies. This is Seaview Cemetery as of last Sunday. It does require an operating plan. Right now, it's treated like a park, so we take care of the lawn. We organize burials with a private contractor or ourselves, depending on the situation. It does need a board. It needs a care fund. We need to talk about what we're doing in the future as we're getting close to the end of the space that we have currently. What's that process look like? And how much is it going to cost us all? And then we need some sort of long-term operating or management plan. So as we go through this conversation with Green Burials, I just want to forward that we will need to do a bylaw update and then do some planning around that as well. So Green Burials was a fascinating topic, I have to say. I probably spent more days on it than I cared to last. Well, no, it's not true. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed every single minute of it through January and February. There's some great resources out there. There's a lot of people doing a lot of great work. I spoke to a number of organizations. I spoke to a number of municipalities and to private cemeteries to try to get my head wrapped around it. In the end, there's three main green burial options, and it goes from so the least restricted to most restrictive. So a hybrid, natural, and a conservation burial. A hybrid is basically operating like a normal cemetery, like a traditional cemetery. But when you intern somebody, you don't use a coffin or like a casket. You don't have embalming fluid. You have a biodegradable shroud. You can't have had chemo treatments and things like artificial hips and knees. So there's still some rules, but that's basically what hybrid is, which is probably where we would want to go sooner. We want to go sooner rather than later. At some point, you want to get into natural, potentially, which is a little bit more restrictive. You have to find out what those areas are. A lot of times they're in meadows. I didn't see any that were in rainforests next to an ocean. And then the most restrictive is conservation, where you're actually conserving pieces of land into the future. And so those are, if we get into this, we'll dig into those a little bit further. I've talked to folks on, I think it's Galliano. That's Small Springs. It's very, very interesting. And there's different ways to do it. There's scattering gardens and ossuaries. So for Tofino, I think that we could move forward if we plan for with a hybrid as the easiest, quickest option. It still will require some work. We need to understand what our grounds look like. How does that work in Tofino? It's a fairly wet ground, fairly close to the top of the water table. So we're going to need some experts prior to that, moving forward that. So locally, there's Cumberland, Picton, and Powder River. I think Powder River has a pretty standard site. It looks like one of our cemeteries. And so it's obviously going to be down on the coast. I think it's just a matter of where. We want to confirm which type we're going to do, develop a long-term plan. Are we going to move to natural or conservation? And then there's a number of considerations that we'll have to work their way through, including, and I didn't put it up on the slides, but wildlife attractions and all those things. Those are real concerns for us on a site that is adjacent to the wilderness. So in terms of next steps, I think it's prudent that we step back and develop a cemetery master plan for the next 20 or 50 years. It doesn't have to be complicated, but I think we should look at updating our bylaw, making sure we understand what our population is doing. We'll need a committee. We'll want to green burials as part of that conversation, and then develop an operating budget. This plan would live in under the parks asset management planning. So we live within our asset management plan, but under the parks. And then in terms of when we get into the actual, the green burials itself, we're gonna have to do impact like environmental impact assessment, like what happens to a body as it, moves back into the land, and what does that look like in terms of a geotech or a geohydrologist point of view, and then potentially a landscape architect to make sure that looks nice, and how we're dealing with things like headstones. A lot of times with natural burials, you don't put headstones on, or you might. Where's the austerity you're going to go, and is there a place for people to gather and consider their loved ones who are no longer with us? So there's a bunch of work there, and I don't know that I'd want to jump right into green burials without addressing this sort of longer term planning for it. So in terms of next steps, to me, it feels like it's a 26 or 27 project. Probably can do some of it internally. We probably need a small budget for some of the experts, but I think we probably have internal resources in terms of planning parks. We have a landscape architect staff now that we could probably work our way through most of it. And so that's the slides. That's where we're at. But I think the short answer is yes, we can do green burials. It's how we get there will be a question.
Thanks. Conversion. Hey, I got a question for you. The requirement for a committee policy, that comes from the province?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So they have a list of stuff that has to happen.
Yeah, if you go into the legislation, can't remember what it is anymore, it actually lists out what it is. And I think in terms of cemetery, you need to have like a paid board, council can be it, or you can have a committee structure, or maybe you can have like a nonprofit run it. So it's kind of idea of that. At this point, because we don't have anything, I'm assuming it's council that by default is who it is, but we haven't really talked about it before. I don't believe we have a care fund running, and a care fund is to ensure maintenance of these cemeteries after maybe the municipality's gone, or when they're full up, what do you do with it? 8.5 acres is a big space. It is all forested, but planning for that might not be the worst idea.
Right. We're all mortal. It's a good reminder.
Brave subject.
Brave subject.
Great deal on plots right now. It's cheaper than it could be.
It's a great deal on plot. Oh, gosh. Councillor Steer.
Yeah, I have a comment and then maybe a question. Thank you. And I remember we had this conversation a couple of years ago that initiated this, where it seems as I get closer to that date, it was an important topic. But thank you, Aaron, for the work on this. It was something that at the time was very intense when those arrangements have to be made, and realizing that was not an option here locally. So I really want to thank you for the work you've done on this. It means a lot. In terms of the moving forward, and you've outlined sort of the next steps that might be appropriate. And I'm wondering, you said there may be a small amount of finance involved in there. And I'm wondering if council is open to moving forward with this. Would it be appropriate also to go into the financial planning process for next year? You said probably not until 26 at the earliest, so not likely, but would that be something appropriate if council so chooses to move forward with this?
Yeah, I think it's a great point. That's basically what I'm looking for today, is just thumbs up that I should add this as a project in 26, and then I can come back to council during the budget process this fall and explain what I think it might cost us and what the timeline might be. But
Thank you. Through the chair, I just had a question for clarity. So if we go with the hybrid burial, is that the correct term?
that's correct term, yeah.
How would a person who maybe had chemo or the hip replacement, how could they apply to be included in?
From what I understand, I am not an expert yet. Maybe after. I don't believe they can be classified as a green burial, and so they likely, from what I understand, would have to be tiered in the.
Okay.
Potentially there, I'm not sure what happened. There's a question of if someone wants to be cremated, what does that mean? It's kind of things like it's a question for me too, that can even consider green burial. Those places have scattering gardens where the actual scatter that's in there, right? So like that, and that'd be an option potentially with people who have potential chemo or an artificial hip or knee. But I would sort of I defer the question until I get a chance to make sure that I'm giving you the correct information from the province and.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so I think we can all safely say 2026. You need a motion for that? Do you need a motion?
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Interesting project.
Writing this motion out.
Okay, 10.8 laneway traffic calming measures, report from Mr. Kirkland.
Council. So yeah, today I'm going to present a report on Layton Way traffic calming measures. So in response to a letter that the THC had sent to council and council had referred to staff. Sorry. So yeah, background, so there's correspondence received from Tofino Housing Corporation regarding traffic calming on Layton Way. The correspondence was referred to staff. In the correspondence, the proposal to add a pedestrian walkway and speed humps to Layton Way, which speaks to previous discussions surrounding traffic calming during the development planning in the early stages of developing DL 114 into the narrow headwaters, affordable housing units. Traffic calming promotes safety, slowing down and controlling movement of vehicles. Currently, the district doesn't have a transportation infrastructure master plan. Staff have reviewed several solutions and iterations of solutions, and at this time are proposing the immediate installation of a three-way stop intersection at Layton Way and Peterson Drive. Always stops mitigate traffic speeds. Stop sign will reduce the visual hazard due to vehicles parking close to the intersection. This immediate solution is a cost-effective solution that doesn't create additional staff maintenance. There's low asset management renewal costs associated with it. A longer term solution would be to implement installing speed bumps and a pedestrian walkway, still including a three-way stop solution. We're recommending that this would be implemented later on after implementing a three-way stop intersection, if there's further safety concerns remaining. This would have some cost and level of service implications with adding additional assets to the district transportation infrastructure. It would also reduce the amount of parking available on Layton Way and reducing the road width from 7 meters to 6 meters. Some further discussion. So there's no concerns noted in the initial headwater traffic impact assessment report due to low vehicle volume and speed on the road right of way. The staff reviewed with McLean, the district's engineering consultant, about the reasonability of the immediate implementation of a three-way stop. And the engineering consultant agreed that was a reasonable initial measure. And then after, like, as I stated before, after that measure is implemented, if the further solution is required with putting speed bumps and a pedestrian walkway, and that could be evaluated over the course of 2025 and later implemented. Financial impacts, the immediate solution would have minimal costs and could be implemented relatively quick. Future consideration solution would be about $30,000 in immediate costs, plus whatever renewal costs would be associated with installing that infrastructure. And then funds contributed by Tofino Housing Corporation to the district can be held in a roads reserve. Regarding community engagement and communication, so with adding a three-way stop intersection, social media communications would go out. There'd be a decal saying new and forewarning of the installation of the stop sign. And then throughout implementation, kind of liaising with residents to determine the effectiveness of adding an all-way stop at the intersection. With that, I'll leave the recommendation on the screen and be available to answer any questions from mayor and council.
Excellent, thank you, Mr. Vicker. Let's do for questions.
I was just a little bit confused about whether the crosswalk on Arnett is gonna be there, or is that for future consideration?
That would be through the chair, that would be with future considerations.
Sure.
How will you conduct the observations to see if that is needed?
Through the chair, observations would be through conversations with residents in the community. If there's feedback through correspondence or letters. Just in general, when staff are out in the field observing the behaviors of public operating their vehicles.
Not just here, is there any thought in the future of looking at mini or neighbourhood roundabouts? I'm not talking about the big one that was probably years ago at Lynn Road.
Through the chair, we haven't thought about installing a roundabout or a traffic circle at that location for either of the two intersections. We'll be looking at in the future. We're going to start considering things like that. Through the chair, I'd have to look at the multimodal transportation plan that was conducted previously. We haven't talked about that at a staff level though, in any level of detail at this time.
Because I agree with the traffic calming measure, but the report does also point out that the problem is between sort of 7 and 9 a.m. and 4 till 5 p.m. So stop sign seems like a blunt approach. That's just my thought. I'm not going to oppose this, but think about things like that in the future, wherever.
Absolutely. Appreciate the feedback.
Super, okay. Councilor Anderson.
My question is about the communications. We're gonna consult or with the neighborhood or to. My question is, are we gonna go out and sort of get some reaction to the idea of stop signs before we install them? Or are we gonna install them and then get reactions to it? Yeah, how does that communications plan roll out?
Through the chair, the plan would be to go and implement installation of the stop signs and then posting signage that says view on them to create awareness about it, but there's no plans through the chair to kind of go knock on individual doors to indicate that a stop sign is going to. So that helps to answer the question.
It just wasn't clear.
I think that's super. Seeing no further questions, just a comment, I think it's gonna work great, to be honest. I remember when the stop signs came in downtown, the four-way stops, and there's a huge outcry that they weren't gonna work, but they work fantastic. So so I think this is a good example of trusting staff and if there's no other further questions or comments, then would somebody councillor offer to read the recommendation?
I move that staff be authorized to implement a three-way stop intersection at Layton Way and Peterson Road as detailed in this report, and that staff monitor the impact of implementing a three-way stop intersection over the course of 2025 to determine if further traffic calming measures are required.
Second by Mr. Thomas. Any further comments from council? All in favor? None opposed, motion is carried.
Thank you.
No bylaws, no unfinished business. Wouldn't that be nice if there was no unfinished business? No business initiated by council members. We have any committee and external appointment verbal reports from council members? It's the standing item, Councillor Sloan.
On April 1st, the Tourism Tofino Board met and we discussed and resolved to move the monthly resort occupancy and performance metrics report from the consent agenda to future board meetings and placing them in the regular agenda so they can be reviewed and discussed. And then on May 5th, I attended the governance training session here at the Classic Sound Theatre. On May 1st, I attended the Destination Stewardship Plan workshop at the Visitor Center. And on the 8th of this month, I went to the CB2 100 Women Who Care event at the Legion, and $10,800 was raised by the women of the West Coast.
Great.
Just a quick question, if I may, through the chair, did they award it to any specific organization this year?
It's the West Coast Women's Resource Society.
Thank you.
And I actually just business initiative with council members. It was an honor to be invited to missing march that happened this past week. Started at Pitsit and moved to Eswista and Taistanis, followed by a lunch, performances, and I was able to attend district. It's great great but sobering time. Okay, moving on to question period. Mr. McCall, open call for questions.
Thank you, Mayor Wall. I'll now do an open call for questions to both members in the gallery and those participating online. For those in the gallery who wish to speak, please raise your hand. If there's anyone attending online via Zoom who would like to ask a question, you can do so now using the Q&A function. I'll now do an open call, calling once, calling twice, calling 3 times. No current questions at this time, Mayor Wall.
All right, then we'll would somebody like to move us into the closed? Mr. Thomas.
I move that the meeting be closed to the public pursuant to sections 91A, C, L, and 92B of the Community Charter to discuss matters relating to personal information about an individual who is being considered for a position as an officer, employee, or agent, employee relations, discussions with municipal officers and employees respecting municipal objectives, measures, and progress reports for the purposes of preparing an annual report under section 98, annual municipal report, in consideration of information received and held in confidence relating to negotiations between the municipality and the provincial government or the federal government or both, or between the provincial government or the federal government or both and a third party.
Here, any further comments? All in favor? None opposed, motion is carried. Great, we'll take some time moving to closed and the gallery. Thanks everybody for coming. Great to see you.